Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today we're jumping into another explainer where we take a really deep dive into the fascinating structures behind the information that surrounds us. And today we're actually embarking on a bit of a linguistic journey. It's totally inspired by Merriam-Webster's Word of the Day for May 15th, 2026. Now, we're just looking at a single word, sure, but as we unpack things today, you are going to see how this one word winds its way through language, history, medicine, and even our daily habits. So, think about this for a second. What on earth do Thomas Jefferson, blood vessels, and bad academic writing have in common? I mean, at first glance, these seem completely, absolutely unrelated, right? You've got a founding father, human anatomy, and the everyday struggles of a graduate student. But they are all intimately connected by the core concept of our chosen word today. We're going to untangle these unexpected connections and see exactly how they intersect. Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the anatomy of a word, tortuous versus torturous, twists in medicine and history, fixing tortuous academic writing, and finally, a daily word celebration. Section 1, Anatomy of a Word, the roots of twisting. So, Merriam-Webster defines tortuous simply as having many twists and turns. It's really that simple. It's the core definition we're working with here. When you picture, say, a mountain road winding back and forth, or maybe a maze that just folds in on itself over and over again, you're picturing something tortuous. It's this baseline concept of a physical deviation from a straight line. But, how exactly did we get this word in the first place? It's actually wild to see the chronological evolution of this word. We can trace it all the way back to the ancient Proto-Indo-European root turquam, which literally meant to twist. From there, it evolved into the 12th century Anglo-French tortuous. Now, notice what happens in the late 14th century. It enters the English language specifically for anatomical use. It was used by early medical professionals to describe literal twists inside the human body. And it actually wasn't until 1801 that we see the figurative sense firmly established, where people started describing things as circuitous or devious, like a really tortuous plot in a mystery novel. Section 2. Torturous versus torturous, the grammar pitfall. Now, this is where so many people get tripped up, and the crucial difference here comes down to one single letter, the letter R. Tortuous, without that second R, means having multiple twists, turns, or just being overly complicated. But torturous, with the R, relates to torture. It implies actual pain, strain, or extreme difficulty. People confuse these constantly, mostly because, they can overlap. Think about it. If you're hiking a winding, incredibly steep, completely exhausting mountain trail, you could correctly say the tortuous path was torturous to walk. It's twisted and it's painful. Just remember the golden rule here. If it hurts, add the R. Section 3. Twists in medicine and history, real-world contexts. Let's jump back to that 14th century medical origin for a second, because we actually still use the word exactly that way today. The American Heart Association journals specifically note a condition called arterial tortuosity. This is a completely literal physical application of the word in cardiovascular medicine. It describes blood vessels that are abnormally twisted and winding rather than just running straight. So yeah, that's the literal anatomical reality of the word. But then things get a little more figurative and honestly kind of dramatic. Consider this really surprising historical anecdote. Back in 1783, Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to his 11-year-old daughter, and he admonished her to follow this incredibly demanding, complex schedule of daily lessons in music, dance, art, French, letter writing, the whole shebang. It's a schedule that literary analysis has literally described as torturous. He even threatened that failing to follow this overly complex routine might cost her his love. Yikes. But right here, the word torturous perfectly captures an agonizingly complicated, winding path of daily expectations. Section 4. Fixing tortuous academic writing, a practical guide. Now, if you've ever written a massive paper, you're going to feel this one. Educational expert Pat Thompson highlights this exact problem on her blog. She references a very real, very frustrated Facebook post from a graduate student who wrote, "My supervisor has just told me my literature chapter was slow and tortuous. What do I do?" The writing had basically become a maze. It was too twisted, too complicated, and the poor reader was just getting completely lost in the bends. So, Pat Thompson breaks down the solution using the classic writing concepts of showing versus telling. In academic writing, showing means displaying your material, your data, your quotes. Telling means offering the analysis and explaining what all of it actually means. The pitfall happens when a writer does way too much showing. They just list quote after quote after quote. It becomes a torturous, endless list. The reader wanders through this maze of other people's words without a map. Now, while telling too much might be super dull in a fiction novel, in academia, you absolutely must tell the reader what the data means. So, what's the ultimate fix here? It's all about balance. You have to balance show and tell. To rescue a torturous draft, you cannot just show a massive list of definitions or quotes. You have to combine that data with meta-commentary. You show a little evidence, and then you immediately step in and tell the reader exactly why it matters and how it connects to your main point. That right there is how you straighten out a torturous, winding path of text and clearly guide your reader to understanding. Section 5. A daily word celebration, puzzles and play. 1,791. For millions of folks out there, this specific number attached to the date May 15th, 2026 meant a daily ritual. It was the puzzle number for that day's edition of Wordle. And the answer to Puzzle 1791, on the exact same day Merriam-Webster celebrated tortuous as the word of the day, was creed, C-R-E-E-D, a belief. Think about that. It's a highly structured, unbending set of principles. It's almost the exact opposite of something that is tortuous and winding. It's just a really satisfying, fun little nod to how we engage with words on a daily recreational basis. Well, we've really covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From ancient, twisting linguistic roots to cardiovascular medicine, all the way to the very real struggles of graduate students, all through the lens of a single, powerful word. So I want to leave you with this final thought. How will you untangle the tortuous paths in your own writing and communications today? Take a look at your emails, your reports, your presentations. Are you accidentally forcing your audience to walk a tortuous path? Remember to balance your showing with your telling and guide them clearly. Keep learning, keep refining those words, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.